Okay, so I'm going to try to explain how I installed the head unit in my 2016 Honda Accord Sport. So if you have a prior generation Honda Accord Sport, then odds are you have a stereo head unit that looks like this. Sorry, it's storming outside. There's also an iMid screen, which is up here, that has all the radio information and clock and your fuel mileage and all that. This iMid screen connects to this factory head unit. So everything you see here is powered from here. If you pull this out of the equation, this iMid doesn't work. Okay? So there was a company, Metra. They came out with a kit, and this is the kit here, and you had the dash kit, you had the bracket that the aftermarket head unit would fit into, which would accommodate either a double DIN or a single DIN head unit. Come with harness. Then it also come with this module. Now this module allowed that iMid screen to retain only a few limited features. It allowed you to maintain the clock, the wallpaper, and I think some setting menus, so you could go in and adjust a few different things like the time delay on lights and a few little things like that. The problem is everyone that I know has always had tons of problems with that kit. Nothing ever worked right. It would crash, and they would, this kit, I'm wanting to say, came out probably 4+ years ago, if not longer than that. No, it's definitely been longer than that. I'm wanting to say 2014, 15. So yeah, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And Metra would release updates very slowly, and people just became very aggravated. There was a gentleman that was on one of the Honda Accord forums, and he went by the name Broly. So if you've been searching for how to do this and Broly harness, this user that was on the forum named Broly, he actually came up with an idea. I think it was his idea. He's the one that created a harness, and basically what that harness did is you could use this to install the head unit, but then you would use his harness, which would replace these particular items. Now what that harness did is the harness supplied, well, what you would have to do is it would allow the old factory head unit, you could actually bury it into the dash, deep into the dash. There's some space back there, but it gets really tight when you're putting a bunch of stuff back there. But you could take the factory head unit, supply power, ground, I think ignition signal, right, and then it continued to run this display. Okay, but then it also had a pigtail that came off of that, which would then go to the new head unit, which would supply, your power, remote turn on, and your ground to the new head unit that's here. Okay, and then you would run your speaker output, RCAs, whatever, from the new head unit. So now the only thing is this head unit here is buried into the dash, so you can't change anything that's up here on this screen. Okay, so another company, Scotch, they came out with this dash kit, but that's all that it is. It's just a panel. There's nothing more to that. That's it. Again, nothing more. There's no cables, there's no harnesses, there's nothing. So what I started doing is I started searching, trying to figure out how to get a hold of this Broly, see if he would make a harness, and he was no longer on the Honda Accord forums. I got searching on eBay, and I actually ran across this harness, Honda Accord 2013 through 2017 9th Gen Stereo Install Kit. So you can kind of see here how this eBay person, seller, has a factory head, or has an aftermarket head unit. The iMid screen is functional, and if we look through, some more of the pictures, you can also kind of see the same, another picture of the same thing. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants this screen to operate and function properly, and still have a good aftermarket head unit. And if we go down to this picture, it's a small picture. Well, I can show you another one, but here's the harness that this person built. And if we look down here, he's kind of showing a little bit of, kind of how it works. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. A little bit more soldering going on there. You can kind of see here where the head unit is buried up. There's a pocket that's right here that has that little flip out door. This is where that head unit, the factory head unit, is here. The whole cover comes off the front, and then this is buried up behind the dash. See, here's a close-up here of this. That's the steering wheel control. So I ordered this from this guy. What little did I know that this guy is Broly. This is the gentleman that was on the Honda Accord forum. And according to him, what happened was he started selling these harnesses like you see here on the website, and the Honda Accord forum moderators, I guess it was, or someone over the forum, they wanted a certain percentage of these harnesses, and Broly wouldn't do it, and basically they banned him from the website. And honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, the forum's a forum. It's not like an auction or something like that. So anyway, getting back to the process. So what I did is I ordered this harness from Broly, and I first ordered this. Now, from what I was told, you can take naphtha and remove this silver from around the inside of this, and then it will make it a shiny black plastic. Somehow I botched the hell out of that, but I left it in there for quite a while, and it looked okay. It didn't look factory perfect, but I'm kind of a little weird like that anyway. So eventually on eBay, I managed to run across this kit, which was available in the shiny black piano black finish that matches my car, and I think I got it for $100 or $125, and then I just used this. I didn't use this, so I currently have this, and then Broly's harness, which is this. Okay, that's what I have in my car. Now, when you order this from him, I gotta say, his communication is amazing. I talked to him numerous times on the phone late at night when I was cussing trying to figure this thing out. He was just so super cool to work with, and it also included the steering wheel control and everything. I can't recommend him highly enough. It's definitely worth it. It's just, do you kind of want to go through the headache of doing it? I told him on the phone if I knew then exactly where he lived at, I just paid him, $500 to install it, just so I didn't have to. But getting back to it again, so I have the Metra dash kit, but you can use this one. It doesn't matter. That's completely up to you. So I have this, and then I have this harness, and now I did purchase a Kenwood DNX 995S head unit, and I had to take the factory, or not the factory, I had to take the Kenwood harness, radio harness, out of the box with the new Kenwood head unit, and I had to send that to Broly, and then Broly then made up this harness. Okay, so I want to say the total turnaround time on that was about 2 weeks. It was reasonable, and so once I got all the parts and stuff, it was okay. How do I put it together? So he emailed me a PDF on how to install this thing. All credit goes to him for putting this thing together, and it wasn't too difficult. But I'm going to kind of step you through the process of what I did, and and maybe go into a little more detail if needed. So the first thing you have are these little pieces that goes down the side. This piece and this piece. Those things just pull up. So if you can get your fingers in there, it's usually easier to do it by the console, further back this way, and then peel up that way and then out. Okay, so these pull it towards you, but that's after you pull these back end pieces up and then pull these out. Okay, now once you got this one and this one removed, then there's this console pocket. So there's a screw that's here and another screw that's there. There is I wonder if I can enlarge this. Oh, look at this. All right, let's do it this way. Okay, so now above the factory head unit, there is a little trim cover that's up here. Just get anything up underneath of it, between that panel, the radio, pop it up. It's just got some kind of like pressure clips that's in there. Over here, same thing. There's a little panel. This is your steering column. This is your wipers, your factory head unit. Just get anything in there, pop that out. Super easy to do. Okay. Now the head unit. Now this, you're looking from the top of the dash. So here is the iMid screen. Okay. This is where the factory head unit is. So you're looking at it from, those screws are right up in here. Okay, there's two. There's going to be one about here and another one about right there. That's where these screws are. Now, I'm having to try to remember where all this stuff is and how I did it. There were two screws. Okay. Once you get, let's see here. Once you pull this pocket out, right, this console pocket, once you pull this out, there are two screws. One goes up in there, one goes up in there, that goes into the bottom of this factory radio head unit. If you put your hand up in there and start feeling around, you'll find it. And so what he's showing here, this is a ratchet with a swivel extension, and it's going up. This is where the face of the AC controls, the face of the factory head unit, and he's going all the way up behind that to reach those two bolts or screws that's there that holds this unit. So those screws are like right up in this way. Okay, so you get those two out, you're pretty much clear. That head unit can pretty much almost come out at that point. But now there's another bracket, there's a module. You can actually look up underneath of that. So you're still working in this cubby area, right? And right up almost in between these screws, there's a little box that's right here. This is the ANC module. So if you're installing a subwoofer in your Honda Accord and you start getting all that popping and it sounds like the thing's about to blow up, this is where the ANC module is located. You can actually just unplug it, but if you're doing this, if you're burying the head unit in the dash, I would recommend pulling it out. So there's just a couple bolts on it, pull it out. As you can see, step number 2, from here you can proceed to pull out the factory head unit. So there's some clips, like one here, another here, but there's like maybe about 3 or 4. I'm going to say 4 clips. So once you got this out of the way, this piece is gone. Your bolt or screw from here is out. Screw from here is out. You can get in there and you can grab a hold of this thing and work it and pull it. Just be careful though, because there are brackets that's on the back of this head unit, and you will scratch the shit out of this face. Okay, so as soon as the face of your AC unit, so once you pop that loose, get a towel and put over that, and then tuck it back up in there, because you don't want those big ass brackets scratching up your beautiful piano black finish that you have on your heating and air controls. Okay, so now you got the factory head unit out, right? So now the next thing that you want to do is you've got to be able to bury the head unit, the factory head unit. So there's thin plastic, which is here. Okay, you want to remove that, and not the sides, but just the top. So cut from here over to here to here. Don't cut any of this stuff right here on this side, just where that crease is. Okay, so you just cut the top out. You can actually do that with a utility knife. It's actually pretty easy to cut, and you can see on this side how he did it. And so this is where you just need all of that space for burying the factory head unit back behind the AC controls and the new head unit that you've installed in there. And because basically what's going to happen is this is where you're going to go in with this head unit. So you're going to eventually remove all of these panels, all of this. You're going to have nothing but the main factory head unit, right? And then you're going, okay, not sure what happened. The camera just shut off. So yeah, so you're going to go underneath with the head unit up into the dash. So that's the reason you're cutting this out. So this is where your cubby hole was. Your console runs this way, your shifter's right here. So you're going to take that head unit and you're going to go up into the dash this way through that opening. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. So in order to get the factory head unit into the dash, you got to remove a lot of the crap that's around it. So where I was talking about a while ago about don't scratch the shit out of your AC control, these are those brackets that's sticking out right here. So this process is really pretty easy. There's not much to it. You want to really try to get rid of everything that you possibly can to give you more space to get it in there. So yeah, you'll want to remove these brackets, and then ultimately the front. You can see here where he's showing, you know, some of the screws. Just remove all of that. And of course, here's the trim panel. And yeah, worth noting is that these vents that's in this factory piece right here, you're going to need those to use in the aftermarket one. The Metra, as you can see, there's no vents here or in the Scosche, so you got to reuse those. So again, remove as much stuff as you can. This right here is the front panel that goes here. This was removed. Now what they were doing is making this piece so that you could reattach it to make adjustments. Okay, if you needed to, via ultimately what the concept was is you could pull this piece, remove this console pocket, and then you could take this or pull the head unit back through this way, put that faceplate on it, and then adjust the time and whatever you needed to. I didn't do that. What I did is, before I took the factory head unit out of the car, I went into the settings and I turned the clock off. Okay? I turned the clock off, so I don't have to worry about the settings for the clock, because you have the daylight savings time and all that. If your battery, you get a new battery, you may have to, it resets the clock. Just go into the head unit before you even take it out of the car and shut that feature off. Turn off the clock in the head unit. That way it's not showing up in the on the iMid display. Okay, so here you can see, here's the factory head unit. Okay, and he has gone from where that cubby hole is and shoved it back up underneath the dash. Okay, so where all the connectors are on the factory head unit is facing up. So where this panel was on this top, that's where you're going to access all of the connectors from that direction there. Here you can see he's saying insert the factory head unit, connect the rest of the factory wiring to the factory head unit except the main, HFL, and connect antenna connectors. So you connect everything, but do not connect the antenna, HFL, and the main. That's because you're going to need, those are actually going to be rerouted to the new head unit. Okay, so that's the reason why. So this is a view. So this is a view from the top again. So this is the head unit, like I was talking about, with the back of the head unit facing up. So this is where the iMid display is. It's right here. This is his harness that he has. So you can see here where he has connected let me see here. Okay, the male harness to the factory. So this is the piece that was going into this, right? But it's not anymore. This piece is connecting to the harness. Then the harness is going into the factory head unit. Then there's another, almost like a pigtail, that goes to the aftermarket head unit. So this is not going here. This is connecting to the Broly harness, which is then going to the old head unit, which is then going to the new factory or aftermarket head unit. The SWC to driver side, I think that was the steering wheel controls. If I remember right, you drop it down over on the left side over there, and you'll be able to access it from up underneath the dash where the steering column is, back up through that way. And there's a USB port on it because you have to program it, so you need to be able to access that. Okay, going a little bit further down. Now, remove the climate control panel. The only reason that you need to do this is because you need to get access to the illumination wire. Okay? So that's the reason why this piece needs to come out. Now, you still haven't put in the aftermarket radio yet. You're still doing all the other stuff. And so I honestly can't remember how the heck that came out. It wasn't difficult, but let me see if he says. No, he's not saying. I don't think. I can't remember if it just popped out or if there might have been two screws in there. I wanted to say I think it just popped out. I think if you just pulled it forward towards you, it would come out. Here he's showing how to connect, because there's going to be one wire that's in that harness. Let's see if we can go back to eBay where he shows. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Let's click it. Can we click these? Let's see if we can get. Yeah, it's small, but illumination wire. So it's going to be loose. Parking brake wire is going to be loose. The remote turn on is loose. And then the HFL, I can't remember what that is at the second. But what you're trying to do is you need a signal, a factory signal to dim the lights, or to throw a signal to the aftermarket head unit. So that's what this wire is for, and that is the reason why he's telling you to pull this thing out, is to locate that wire. Yeah, which is here. So this is the harness that connects into the AC controls, the climate control panel harness. And so tap the illumination orange or yellow black wire from the bypass harness to the middle gray wire. And so yeah, you can see this is the wire here, and you know, you'll want to fix that back up, put that back. There's the HFL. I'm trying to remember this part. Tap the HFL hands-free link white black wire from the bypass harness to the light blue wire in the vehicle HFL harness. Well, that's because we had to leave that. We did not plug that in. Yeah. So here's the wire here, and then it's going to tap into. There will be a harness like this that will be in the dash. It was plugged into the factory head unit, but you did not plug that in. If you remember that part, you just left it unplugged. See the HFL? Remember, it said do not plug this in, or this in. So that's because out of this this new harness that he's supplied you, you're going to be tapping into that. So you don't want that plugged into the factory head unit. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. From here, you're ready to proceed with the aftermarket head unit installation. Now see, this is the part that I was talking about doing before you pull out the factory head unit. So he does outline it in this explanation. Disable the top right screen clock on the iMid screen and turn off the factory head unit. The first screen on the iMid menu should say radio off. This will reduce power consumption and the heat generated by the unit. Okay. So you'll want to do that first. Before you pull the thing out, you'll want to go and do that. Here's just kind of another shot of, you have the console, which is here, and then this is the front of the head unit, the stock head unit that is pushed up into the dash. A few more. You can see here where he was kind of showing that if you need to make any corrections or adjustments to the head unit, then basically what you would do is you would pull this pocket back out, and then once you've pulled the pocket out, then you can lower the factory head unit down out of the dash, and you can see here's your AC controls. And so he's pulled it out, and then he's reattached this front control so you can go in and you can make any adjustments to that iMid screen that you needed to make. And so that's kind of the process of what he did there. So the biggest challenge I think that I ran into really was just trying to get the head unit back up inside the dash. And it wasn't too difficult, but it was a bit of a challenge. Now with the parking brake wire, I just grounded that wire, and that way I still was able to, watch DVDs or whatever I wanted to with my factory head unit, or with the aftermarket Kenwood head unit, while the car was in gear. So I didn't have to be, the parking brake on. I could just have the car in park and still be able to watch videos or whatever I wanted to in the car. And so that's pretty much it. It was a little bit of a process, so it wasn't the simplest thing to do. But I can tell you that if you do decide to, to buy this kit, it's underneath EXGP Solutions, and again, this is how it's laid out. He has on here estimate greater than 14 business days. It took about 2 weeks or so for him to make it, because you got to remember the factory Kenwood. I keep saying factory. The Kenwood harness. You have to send that to him, and then he has to build the actual harness itself. That way it's all more of a plug and play type scenario for you. So that's the harness, and then you still have to decide what you want to do with the faceplate trim, if you want to go with the Metra or if you want to go with the Scotch. So I did hear that you can remove the silver from this one as well using naphtha or paint thinner. However, they have a kit. And that's what the B is actually. B is for black, but I'm not seeing them show a picture of it. Let me see if I can try to find a quick picture here somewhere. Maybe. Okay, maybe not. Let's see. See if we can just edit some of this. See if we can find a picture and I'll show it to you guys. Yeah, so it's right here. Not a very good picture though, is it? Or just like this. So that's pretty much what mine looks like. Now, I'll do another video on the Navic. So I've had people to also ask me about how do I have the Android TV, NVIDIA Shield TV installed in my car so it's functioning on this. And so I'll do another quick video on that to kind of show you or walk you through that process of what I did. So I hope this helps you guys. All right. Don't forget to like the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, bye.